My name is Gillian Brown and I work in online marketing and copywriting, content creation for a company that's based in the west of London. I definitely did not hear about it in 2011 when they apparently announced it. It wasn't as though the border agency called up all of us foreigners and said, yo, this thing is happening. I had absolutely no idea before earlier this year. Yeah, and I sort of I read about it and I went, that's a pickle. Called my parents about it. I was born in Australia and I lived there until I was 19 and a half. Yeah, and I'm 27 now. For me, it wasn't really my choice. It was a family decision. And My parents basically wanted to they wanted to move to the UK. I think it was my brother who said, "Yeah, we should do this. We should move to the UK. It'll be awesome." And we got enthusiastic about it and we made it happen. And yeah, kind of proud of that. Well, I've been here for 7.5 years. 8 years in September, and in that time, I've been to university. I've gotten 2 degrees from a British university. I've worked in a UK job for nearly 3 years, and I've made a lot of friends in that time. You know, university societies, people I've met through people from university society. I've got a lot of friends here, and many of whom I'm very close to and don't want to leave. My best friends are here, basically. And my family is also here. My mum and dad and my 2 brothers, and I'm very close to them and I don't want to leave them. And they're all very settled here, so it wouldn't be a case of I definitely wouldn't be able to say to them, please come back to Australia with me. Um, I couldn't ask them to do that. I very much like rain. My grandfather does as well, and he reckons it's hereditary, which I'm pretty sure it's not. But I think my grandpa likes to believe these whimsical things. But I love the rain as well. So when it rained in Australia, which it does do occasionally, I, very occasionally, I used to sit near the window and just watch it. But yeah, yeah. And not even just as a small child, as an adult as well. I just be like, but yes, but I mean, Australia is very very hot, and I'm not very good with heat. But I think what I like most about the UK is um, the ability to pursue any pastime. I wanted to be a dancer for years. The UK, certainly the Generation Y culture in the UK, is much more tolerant and is much more sort of willing to let anybody who is anybody give these things a go, regardless of how experienced they are or anything like that. And so I was able to pursue this particular dream of mine, and that was wonderful. And that that is the sort of thing I would miss most. Absolutely, I've always felt that. Um, the reason being that they make it so difficult for people like me to live in the UK. And they've sort of the main indication is how they've made it more and more difficult as time has gone on. Basically, since Theresa May came into office, in that I mean, I can list if you like the restrictions that have come in. Um, if it weren't for my immigration status, I'm pretty sure the UK would want me as well. Because apart from being Australian, I tick a lot of the right boxes. You know, I've got unique skills. I've got a master's degree. I speak a foreign language, an unusual one at that. We wanted me to be on a dependency visa. And when we were originally planning to relocate to the UK, I was under 18, and my parents sought advice from immigration consultants, or possibly from the border agency itself. And we were told that even though I would be over 18, I'd still be classed as a dependent, so it would be fine. So my 18th birthday came and went, and we tried applying for the dependency visa for me, and I wasn't able to get it because I was 18 and a half at the time. Because of the second language I speak, I had a unique skill, and I, yeah, and I apparently was the best person for the job. So yeah, I was very fortunate. I got that job, but there was still a trial period where I had to sort of, I had to prove that I could do the job. Where they would give me give me a visa, and thankfully, I mean, I'm not sure. Like they were threatening to not give me a visa. I don't necessarily know if they were trying to be vindictive about it, but they were sort of. I think they didn't realize how serious it was. Um, because the people who were looking after me, they were all free to leave the UK. I don't think they sort of made the connection that if they didn't allow me to have this visa, I would be deported. What else do I need to do? What else can I possibly do? Because yeah, I mean, as well as studying in a British institution and putting literally thousands and thousands of pounds into that institution for a non-EU for an international degree, two of them, in fact, working for a British company, paying British taxes. I could go on. Um, donating to British charities, six of them, in fact, on a monthly basis, volunteering for one of them. I used to do that. I would probably ask them what does matter. And, I'd try not to be frustrated about it, but I would genuinely be curious. I would say, well, if that stuff doesn't matter, then what does? It's kind of like when you've already been given a whole lot of bad news and you're just being given a little bit more on top of it. It's kind of like, you know, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's, I think it gives them nightmares. Um, I've had my father. I've got mental health problems. I'm I'm I've got anxiety issues, stuff like that. Um, they're hereditary, and I got them from my father. Um, my father has these problems. I think they make it difficult for my dad to sleep sometimes. Um, my he'll occasionally get me on the phone and he'll say, "Gillian, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help you anymore." I and this is not in a sort of like I'm gonna give up on you kind of way. It's in a sort of they just keep on making it more and more difficult, and I don't know what to do anymore. It does anger my mother. Um, I've been witness to a lot of her angry rants about how unfair it is. Yeah, because they are, yeah, they're trying so hard to help, and they can't really. This is beyond their power. It is a burden having to, and I mean, I don't necessarily feel guilty about that because if it were any of them, I would absolutely do the same. Um, but there is no denying that this is a burden. Maybe. Um, uh, in the short term, yeah. Because then it'd be like, well, it's over now, and we don't have to worry about keeping her here anymore because she's gone. Like, and kind of be like, well, UK, you won, and yeah, yeah, probably anger, bit of sadness, terrified. Um, Especially if I let myself think about all of my, uh, all of the friends I have here and the life I've built for myself here, and the fact that that could be taken away from me, and a bit of the unfairness comes in there. Me sort of thinking that I don't really deserve that. Um, all that sort of stuff. You think like, I'm not a bad person, da 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 da. But it's more just, yeah, it's more just the fear of that being taken away. In all seriousness, don't get your hopes up. Um, uh, as much as I hate to say it, there's not really any point in sugarcoating it. If you are not from the EU, the UK doesn't want you. Or rather, they do want you, but they don't know that. Do your research. Uh, and feel free to have some sort of plan if you're hoping to be here, if you're hoping to emigrate here for a very, very long time. But understand that that plan could fall through, like it has for me many times, many times.